All right. I'll give it. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm Yellowbird Yellow Bill. I am one of the admins over on the futures side. Most of you know. I've been trading futures for about a year now.
I'm gonna share my screen.
Oh, one moment. All right. I've been trading futures for about a year now. Had very limited success beginning out, and then applied some of the techniques I learned in the military through resiliency, and just had some conversations with some of the members here and found my success and haven't looked back since. Currently, I am self-funded and I still run prop accounts through Apex and ETF just to keep the sword sharp on prop accounts and everything like that, and passing them and working with them to try and help people out with using them. Normally I do a resiliency series. We are about 4 weeks into that, but I decided to take a break upon request. I've had a few requests to have an open forum and a Q&A for myself. So here I am. We created a special channel, questions for the Q&A session with Yellowbird tonight. Go ahead, drop your questions in there, or you can unmute your mic and ask any questions you want to ask. While you guys think of that, I had some submitted questions earlier. I'm going to start with Gator's question. He talks about overtrading. He says, I can't tell when to stop trading on a day. I am not overtrading in the sense that I'm frantically pushing buttons, but I'm wanting a sense of what to go for. I don't like profit targets because that is the number one reason I struggle to stop trading when I was overtrading. Is it just by feel? So what I usually do when I am trading and not, I usually have a profit target myself. And when I say a profit target, it's a give or take. So if my goal is, let's say, $500 a day, if I hit 400 or 600, something like that, I'm happy with it. I don't want to try and push myself to where if I have like 400 or 450 or something like that, to try and get that last little bit to reach 500 and then end up losing because I'm searching for a trade or I'm trying to push a trade or something like that, which is typically what people do with profit goals. So what I usually use a profit target, and once I reach that profit target, I will continue to trade until I have a losing trade. So if I trade, I'll size down and continue to trade. Sometimes I'll size down in my contracts and continue to trade NQ, or I'll switch to MNQ. And I'll continue to trade until I have one losing trade. And then once I have that one losing trade, I am done for the day, or I'll switch accounts. That's the beauty of having multiple accounts. Once you get advanced, and you can have multiple prop accounts or personal accounts and prop accounts. But yeah, most of it is a feeling. When you feel like you're in control or in the zone, you can continue to trade. But once you start getting a sense of dread or feeling like, one thing I always know when it's time to stop is when I enter a trade and I'm watching the trade and I get a sense of dread or feeling like, I just feel like, well, I don't want to be in this trade anymore. And then a lot of times I will stop. I'll just close the trade, get out, and then stop trading for the day. That's when I know that I'm starting to overtrade. So a lot of it is by feel and knowing yourself and knowing when you're on the edge of losing control or about to do something stupid. I mean, anything in this whole trading journey that I have found out is more about learning about myself than learning how to trade. The way I trade is I trade simple setups, flags, trend lines, key levels, supply and demand. Anyone can learn that. It's the learning yourself and the mental aspect of it that is the hard thing to learn and where most people struggle. So it's just one of those things you have to learn and get that feeling for. All right. And then Thick Frog asked a question about trend lines. I've got a playback set up. I'll go through towards the end of the class and walk through the trend lines. But typically what I do is once I see a low of day or a high of day, whether it's during regular trading hours or Globex, I will use that as my anchor point and then draw to the bodies of the next point to make my trend line. And then I will draw, sometimes I'll use Wix if it gives me a neater trend line to line up with a second or third point. And then I like to see a tap of the trend line mostly is when I'll enter, is just on the tap itself. Ralphie, you had the question of, if one is already familiar with options, where does this person begin if he or she wishes to trade futures? All right, so the first question you got to ask yourself is, are you going to be self-funded or a prop trader? If you're going to be self-funded, you just pick which broker or which platform you like better, Trade-of-8 or NinjaTrader or TOS or something like that. I personally like NinjaTrader. I've used Trade-of-8, TOS, and NinjaTrader, Trade-of-8, and TOS. Yep. I've used all those. NinjaTrader is my favorite out of all of them. It's just personal preference. So you're self-funded. I would recommend a minimum of $5,000 in your account. And with $5,000, I would only trade 1 to 3 micros at a time. And what instrument you're going to trade is whatever you're most comfortable with in the options world. So if you're most comfortable with SPY, trade ES. If you're most comfortable with QQQ, trade NQ. But you always want to start out with micros. If you're going to go the prop account way, I would say a 25K prop account would be best for starting out. It has the best profit. It has a 1-to-1 profit target and trailing stop. So that is why I like the 25K. It's got a smaller limit on the orders, so you can't really shoot yourself in the foot too much on it. And then once again, whether you're just familiar with, SPY or QQQ, trade ES or NQ, and just start out small, the 1 to 3 micros, get used to it, dip your foot in the water, start seeing that consistency. You don't want to, when starting out on futures, you don't want to worry about P&L as far as how much you are making. You just want consistently green days, because with futures, it is so easy to scale up that once you can get consistent green days and be green consistently, all you have to do is change a click of a button and you can scale up, trade the same system you've been consistently green on, and then you are going to start seeing those numbers rise. All right. And then asked the question about Tradovate and NinjaTrader, the pros and cons. Tradovate is the pros to Tradovate. Myself is it is better for Mac users because there's the web base user interface that you have, and if you do NinjaTrader, you have to get I forget what it's called, where you have to basically install Windows on your Mac, which can be a pain for setting up and everything. And then mobile trading on Tradovate. You cannot trade your prop accounts on mobile for NinjaTrader yet. And the Rithmic app for trading prop accounts is an absolute nightmare. So if you're going to be trading mobile, Tradovate is the way to go. If you're going to be using Mac, Tradovate is the way to go. If you're a Windows user and you're going to be sitting behind a computer, personally myself, NinjaTrader is definitely the way to go. Parallels is the term I was looking for. Thank you, Krieg Sauce. Do not use TradingView. I will die on that hill. I've used TradingView myself multiple times, and there is such a delay. You will enter an order, and it'll be 3 seconds later, it will fill that order, and everything will be off. But so if you use brackets, especially, it's horrible. Because let's say the candle, let's say here on my screen, this candle comes down to the trend line. You click buy here at 990, and you have 10 profit target at 500, 510, 520, 530. What will happen is your profit target will go at 500, 510, 520, 530, but your fill will be up here at like 498. The fills on TradingView will take longer. And then if you panic and you have to exit a position quickly, it's going to take longer and your loss is going to be more significant. The TradingView is just absolute hot garbage. I've lost serious amounts of money using TradingView, the TradingView integration. And so I would steer anyone away from that at all. All right. How do I work on my mental when it comes to sizing? Example, I size small and I am not as strict on my stop and make great gains. But when I size big, I seem to be very strict on my stop loss and get out of trades when they rip after. That is... So when you're sizing up, are you going from MNQ to NQ on that sizing jump, or are you just going from, let's say, 1 MNQ contract to 3 MNQ contracts? 1 to 3. All right. With that, So my recommendation for that is to just trade the same way you do when you size small. So don't change anything when you don't have the same strictness with your stop loss when you're small as you do when you're large. I mean, it's going to take some getting used to. One thing that Darth preaches a lot, and I do also, is hide your P&L. Trade the chart. Absolutely just hide the P&L, trade the chart, and don't worry about the P&L. Now that's more difficult on prop accounts, but you shouldn't be sizing up, and you shouldn't be sizing up on a prop account if you're in risk of blowing it up or don't have that buffer. The point of an eval is a job interview. Once you get the PA account, you have the job, but you're on probation until you build that buffer. And then once you have that buffer, you're out of probation and you actually have the job. And that's when you can take some more leniency with your trading and start sizing up and everything like that. But if you're in the eval phase or building that buffer, I wouldn't recommend sizing up personally. Does that answer your question? All right. And then Mitch asked, what size prop accounts do I trade? So currently I'm trading 25Ks. I've had the 100K, 300K, 50K, 25K. What I'm doing now is I am building up 25K accounts. I'm going to build up 10 of them, and then I'm going to put them on a trade copier and really start going. I'm just taking my time with that. I am not in a hurry to do it. So I like the 25K accounts because they have the trailing stop and the profit target 1-to-1. They are sized, it's with Apex. The 25Ks are 4 minis or 40 micros. So the Trade of 8 trade copier, the group copier, I've used a couple of times and I did not like it. I am going to start using Replicanto, and I can't speak to that yet because I have not used it, but there's a couple of guys in the group, Mitch, that do use it. Let me check. I Make No Sense uses it a lot, so I would talk to him about it. But personally, I haven't gotten into it yet. That's one of the things I need to get on and learn about and use. That's what most of this is for me, is just learning, doing it myself to learn so I can help everyone else with it. But I just haven't gotten that far yet in the journey. But I will tell you that the group trading on Trade of 8 is not the best. All right. Do I have any more questions? You can go ahead and drop it in the questions chat or unmute your mic and ask away. How far? Okay, so Mitch asks, how far will you build a 25 before you take a payment? So what I like to do with the 25K accounts is get it up to 27,500 and then start withdrawing $500 each month for the first, 3-4 months. And then, excuse me one moment. What are you doing in there? Quit rustling around. All right. So I'll take $500 for the monthly payments that are capped, and then after that, I will do any withdrawals over $30,000 down to $30,000. I like to keep my gains on the PA accounts to around $400 to $600 a day, so I don't break the 30% rule with that Apex has. That keeps me, if I keep consistent gains, then they can't hit me with the 30% rule. But if I can hit that $500-$600 a day, I'll be well over that $30,000 mark by the time, the withdrawals roll around once a month, and then I'll be able to withdraw down that $500 and take it out, and then down to that 30 once there's no limit on the withdrawals. Why are the names? All right. Kay, I personally had a bigger than usual red day today. How would you recommend moving forward for the rest of the week, knowing there's still big economic events in play? All right. You and me both, brother. I had a horrible red day today. I took a significant loss on the personal account. I lost a PA account with Apex, and I blew 2 evals. It was strictly, I rushed into it this morning, didn't do my morning routine, chased a couple of trades, revenge traded, and completely broke almost every rule in my system. So my plan moving forward for myself is to size down. I will be trading MNQ. I will be trading micros the rest of the week. I will put myself in timeout and trade micros. I will size down so when I enter, I usually enter in lots of 3. So I will buy when the price comes, like right here, I've got it set up 12 contracts, taking profit 3 at 10, 3 at 20, 3 at 40, 30, and 3 at 40. So what I will do is I will go here and change my ATM strategy to where I'm only going to be buying 3 contracts total. And I will be taking 1 at 10, 1 at 20, 1 at 30. So I'm scaling down both in the instrument I'm trading and the number of contracts I'm going to trade. And then I am going to be extremely more patient and take only the setup, my A+ setups. I will probably only be trading flags tomorrow. And that will be probably it for myself. What you need to do is just after a red day, be more focused on your emotions than you are normally. Make sure if you have a routine, follow your routine, and then add extra stops. Before you take a trade, identify your stop, your entry, your profit targets, enter the trade, make sure you're comfortable with the trade, stay sized down, and then when you're done with the trade, kind of do a self-evaluation of how you felt with everything. If you start feeling yourself getting stressed or out of kilter or out of whack, just go ahead and stop trading for the day. Try and get focused, refocused on everything, and just be more sensitive to your emotions throughout the day. All right. Ralphie asked 30% rule. Okay. So with some of your prop firms, your 1 day gains cannot exceed 30% of your total profits. So if you make a total of $1,000, your 1 day gain cannot be over $300. So that is the 30% rule. All right. Can you talk about how futures versus options contracts act/trade? Okay. So options contracts and futures contracts are different in the fact that future contracts are set. When you are trading NQ, there are 4 ticks in 1 point. And then each tick is worth $5, so each point is worth $20. With your options, you have the Greeks involved, and then so it's really, I never figured it out, and I never understood like calculating, okay, if SPY moves 2 points and I have this contract with this expiration date and this strike price, I'm going to make X amount of dollars. So with futures, it's much easier to calculate that. If I have one contract and it moves 10 points on NQ, I'm making $200. It's that simple. With ES, every tick is $12.50. So every point is $50. As far as so that's how the contracts act. Futures, it's locked in. Options, you have that curve of how bad it is with the Greeks. Now, how it trades, it's simple price action. I mean, that's another thing that I like about futures is it is just simple price action. The price comes down to a trend line or in a flag. All I have to do is hit buy market, sell market, or put in my limit order. And then it is set right there. With the click of a button, I can be in there. I don't have to go to a different chart and look for strike prices, expiration dates, analyze the Greeks and all that stuff. I can just press a button. I'll have my ATM strategy set up to where it automatically takes, my profits and automatically moves my stop loss and everything like that. All right, Krieg. Okay, you answered that. Yep. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
Hey, can you hear me? This is Freaks also.
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I just kind of want to expand on it's like that was one thing that got me. It's like we were just talking about, you're talking about a 2 or 5 or 10 point move in SPY and that sort of thing. And like when you're waiting for that move, some days you just get mixed up in the chop. And so that 2 or 5 or 10 point move, whatever, that can take minutes or hours or something like that. And the whole time you're sitting there thinking about your contract expiring, it's just losing value and that sort of thing. So if you're in options and if you don't get that volatility, you're basically, and this is how I figured it out, it's like you're just wasting your time. And then when I came to futures, I was just like, holy cow, like you don't have to worry about your options expiring in 2 days and you just feel like you're losing value because it's not moving and that sort of thing. So with futures, you're basically just picking a direction. You don't have to worry about, I don't even remember what the Greek was, the delta or whatever that just loses value and just kills your it kills you unless you're selling. So, from an options to future standpoint, for me, it was so much easier just picking a direction. Okay, you're looking at the setup. Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? And then that's what you base your trade upon.
Yeah. That is one of the many great things about futures is just the ability to be able to trade the chart and not have to worry about anything else but the chart. So Mitch's question is, when you get your 10, 25K accounts built up, will you pay the lifetime for them? Yes. I pay lifetime for all my PA accounts. The goal is to keep them for life. So I'm at a point now personally where I keep those PA accounts, and if I keep it for 2 months and get 2 payouts, the lifetime membership has paid for itself. It's saved me money on that. So I would recommend the lifetime payout on the 25Ks for sure. All right. K is, I use the auto break even stop loss at 10 to 15 points. I feel that a lot of times during the trade, it will come back, hit my auto break even, and then keep running in the direction I had hoped for. Do you ever re-enter in these situations, or do you just accept your 10, 15 point win on the portion of your position size? Yes. So, that I usually use a 10 point break even. Yesterday and today I experimented with a 15 point. I've been testing out a 15 point break even. If I take profit and it comes back down and hits my break even, I'm happy. That is a green trade. I'm good. I don't care if it runs after that or doesn't. Once it does, then I will look for a re-entry. So let's say right here, I entered this flag. Say I entered this flag here at 4,990. It went up here to 500. Took profit. My auto break even went to 490.50 because I always add 2 to cover commissions. It hit. All right. And then runs up. Well, then I would look for either this next flag to set up and I would enter on this next flag, or I'd wait for a tap on the trend line and enter in there. I mean, if you start trying to chase, I look at re-entering. If it comes down, I take profit and it hits my break even. And then I start and I enter again. I consider that chasing. And then what's the point of having the break even at that point? If you're just going to enter again, you might as well just keep your stop loss down there and let the trade go longer. If I get a profit target and then stop loss, I'm happy with it. I will keep that. That's a win in my book. So I will not re-enter in those situations. Yeah, Creek Sauce, that's something that we all struggle with, is rushing. some of you may be familiar with VWAP Trader or JJ. He is this guy that's been trading futures, and it's Confessions of a Market Maker. He was a market maker, and he said something on one of his podcasts of, if you sit there and you set a goal like, hey, I'm going to make enough this week to buy a car, or I'm going to make enough this month or this year to buy a house, you're going to fail, because you're adding pressure onto yourself for no reason. And that's something that when I heard it, it just stuck with me. Don't overcomplicate it. Like Coach always says, keep it simple. And so a lot of times we sit here and we're trading these prop accounts or evals and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, I've got to reach this profit target in 7 days. Or 5 days or whatever. So I can hurry up and get funded. And then once I'm funded, I have to meet my 10 trading days and get it over, $26,600 so I can request a withdrawal, and then everything. And we're just putting these unnecessary pressures on ourselves for no reason. There's, we're overcomplicating it. We're adding these pressures to ourselves, and that's when we start to rush. And that's something that you need to break yourself from. None of us should be trading for a living. None of us should be sitting here and like, hey, if I don't make, $1,500 this month, I'm not going to make rent. So there really shouldn't be a need for the money that we make in trading at this point in our trading career. And if you are a full-time trader like myself, you should have a safety net built in. So you don't want to add that pressure onto yourself and add that rush onto yourself. All right, Ralphie, with a self-funded account, is my potential loss only the capital I use for a particular trade, or is there sort of built-in margin I need to be aware of? Okay, so the way futures works is there is going to be an auto liquid. The loss is infinite as well as the gain is infinite, essentially. You could potentially have enter in a position, it go against you, and your balance can go negative, and then you will owe your broker that money. What a lot of brokers have now is an auto liquidate on your margin. So you'll have margin for, give me a second, let me pull up the margin requirements.
AYB, it's $500 for ES for one ES on the
Okay. All right. So the margin is $500 for a mini on ES. All right. So once you lose $500 on that position, you will get liquidated and they will close that position for you. So that's what a lot of brokers do to protect you and protect themselves from losing money. Does that answer your question, Ralphie? All right. So Easy E85 asked, hypothetically, if you pass an eval, for example, a 50K account and lose the whole 50K, what happens there? All right. You will not be able to lose the whole 50K. So you'll have the drawdown. Krieg. Okay, Krieg typed up the answer there. All right. Krieg, you're all over it, brother. All right. Any more questions?
I just kind of wanted to expand the kind of the opposite end of this spectrum, if you will. I mean, I've struggled myself with red days, of course, and obviously I'm nowhere near as successful as you. But so today I know that a lot of people struggled and had red days, and they were posting about it in the accountability chat. I encourage anyone that is struggling to post in there, because that's a very good channel that we've created. I'm very fortunate to be part of that, because I struggle a lot too. But just like YB said, he had a red day, and I was fortunate today. I don't know what it was, but I guess maybe I felt like I was in the zone, and I had a decent day. And I was just on a 25K eval, and I had a pretty decent day. But one thing that I struggle with is if I have a really good day the next day, or if I have a really good day or two in a row, I'll come out the next day guns blazing, thinking that I'm invincible, and that's when things just go to crap. If you know what I mean. Like I'll just things just spiral downward. So what I want to say, this is just a lesson for me as well. But if you have a good day or if you have a bad day, take a step back. Just like YB said, he had a terrible day today. He's going to size down. He may not even trade tomorrow. I don't know. But I'm just saying, if he sizes down, my plan is to hopefully not trade tomorrow if I can help myself, because I had a good day today. I mean, granted, I'm on a 25K eval. It's my first day. I made $430 or something like that. So I'm a third of the way through it. But I had a good day today, and I usually follow that up with a terrible day because I think I'm doing well. So my suggestion is for anybody, like, if you have a good day, really good day for yourself, or a really bad day for yourself, step away from it and just watch the market. And tomorrow is a big day with FOMC, so just trade lightly and that sort of thing. Because I've only been doing this for not even 6 months now, but I have nothing to show for it. But I've learned some lessons. I'm still trying to learn from it. But if you're up big, take a day off or just watch the market. If you have a bad day, take a day off, watch the market. You can learn something just from watching, and that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's great advice. A lot of times we don't touch on that. We always focus on the negative emotions and how when things go bad, how we react negatively, and we don't talk about the positive emotions and how when things are going good, we get out of kilter then also and continue and then have a bad day and let our emotions get out of control, which can be just as dangerous. That is a good point, Krieg. All right. Right now I'm going to go ahead and try this playback thing for Thick Frog on this trend line trade and walk through and show how that is done. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat while I walk through this. All right, so we've got the low of the day here, and then drew my trend line based on the body of the candle. Got my ATM strategy set up. What I will do is I will just sit here and place a limit order right on that trend line, line it up. So right now I need to move it up to that trend line. And then I will just wait for the price action to come down into this trend line. All right, so this video right now is on a 2-minute time frame, but I have it at 4 times speed, so the candles are going to come up a little quicker and look a little different. All right, so Ralphie asked, can you go short or long? All right, you can go both short and long in futures. You're either selling or buying. All right, so we got the tap of the trend line here. Went ahead and entered 12 contracts at there. Hit my first profit target at 10 points. The stop moved to break even plus 2 ticks to cover commissions. And we're just going to sit here and watch this trend go up. Now, I understand this for Thick Frog. This is a replay and it's kind of hard to do playbacks and everything because we already know what's going to happen and show everything. But that is typically how I do a trend line off of low a day, is I will use the wick of the low or the high and then draw through the body of the candles and then enter on the next tap of the trend line. Okay, so how do you properly set up a ATM? All right, let's go here. So you will enter in how many contracts you want to enter. Let's say we're going to enter 3 contracts. Go by tick size, stop loss 40, profit target 40, and then we add, reduce this down. We'll say we'll take 2 at there and then 1 at 80 ticks. So that's 10 points and 20 points. Auto break even strategy, custom, 1 step. Let's say we want the profit trigger is going to be at 40 ticks. We don't want auto trade. And then plus 2 ticks to cover the commission. Okay. And then you can hit that. That's the same as my auto break even. All right. And then you save as template and then you name it. And that is how you create the ATM. Right there. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah, the ATM strategies, you can get real crazy with it. I mean, I have a lot of ATMs. Most of these are for NQ. I've got some for ES. This one here. So this strategy here is I enter 33 contracts and I will have profit targets all the way out to 100 and then a runner that will go that I'll set, and everything auto breaks even after 10 points. And this is my fire and forget. This is how I catch those 100, 200, 300 point moves, is when I enter in on this ATM. This is definitely not an ATM for evals. Definitely not an ATM for when you're under that buffer. That is something you want to use. That's definitely a more advanced ATM that you'd want to use once you have that buffer. All right. Any more questions, comments? Oh. That was yesterday. Yeah, Ralphie, if you are looking at coming from the option side to the future side, best way to do it is to come hang out with us, ask questions, learn a little bit, learn as much as you can. Once you feel comfortable, get a prop account, start learning that way, or self-fund and learn that way. The prop accounts definitely have a lower risk of capital than self-funding, and I would recommend that route personally. But yeah, come on over and join the dark side. The dark side has cookies. It's fun over here. Does Tradovate have the same thing? Yes, Tradovate has a similar setup with the it's called bracket orders in Tradovate. Let me see if I can pull up my Tradovate real quick. Come on. Why is this not opening? Oh my. I apparently opened like 5 of the Tradovate traders. Yeah, right now my Tradovate is not pulling up for some reason. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, I believe there's a thing that says brackets or ATM, and there's a gear to the side of it. You click on that gear and then it'll pull up a menu to set up your ATMs in there. If you go to the channel Tradeovate support, there's some examples of ATM settings that people have posted in there that you can look at. All right, so Ralphie, I use TOS for swings and NinjaTrader for intraday. Number one, to keep them separate, because if I were to do swings and intraday on the same account, it would just be complicated when I was entering and exiting and everything like that. It would just mess up my original swing position if I was trading intraday. Secondly, the TOS commissions are a lot steeper than anything else, and the way to enter and everything like that is a little more complicated. So I just use TOS for swings, and then my intraday is on NinjaTrader because it's just easier to keep them separate. And if you're using a prop account, you cannot hold overnight or through the weekend unless you have a certain eval or prop account called the Diamond Hands. But that's just a pain. So holding overnight, the margin differences are significantly higher. Yeah, TOS commissions are higher. Depending on your volume of trading, you can call them and get lowered commissions. I did that back in the day with my options and got the commissions reduced significantly. They've reduced my futures commissions also after talking to them and everything like that. So that might be something you want to look into, is giving them a call and talking to them about lowering your commissions. All right, Creek Sauce. When using NinjaTrader, do you know if the license fee is covered from the Apex license or self-funded? Or do you have to purchase your own license for it? Yeah, I purchased my own license on NinjaTrader for my self-funded.
Questions like, if you buy an eval account from Apex, if you're using their license key within NinjaTrader, if you also self-funded an account with NinjaTrader, if you switched from the Apex account to your self-funded account, do you also have to change the license key and that sort of thing? Not like I'm trying to go self-funded or anything like that. I'm just kind of thinking outside the box for hopefully the future, but I'm just wondering how that all works.
Yeah, that's a little chef question for sure.
All right, I can think. That'll be good. Thanks for your time tonight.
Yeah, not a problem. Any more questions?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this and taking time away from your family and all that. I guess my question is more on like morning routine. I find the morning routine is kind of a vital part of getting your day started. And I personally like to listen to music that, gets me pumped up and going. Like for you, do you prefer Crazy or Fireball?
All right. I'll go ahead and bite. I prefer Timber. All right. I know Pocahontas probably put you up. Yeah, I'm sure she did. But we'll go ahead with Timber. Never a dull moment with her around. Definitely not. All right. Any other questions? All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, and I will be around in the chat for a little bit to discuss things. Might do a little Globex while this video uploads and everything to YouTube, and I will have the link posted for the YouTube. Y'all get ready for tomorrow. Be sure to follow your system, follow your routine. Don't rush into anything. There are plenty of opportunities every day to trade, especially with futures with the instant settlement and the no PDT rule. So just remember to stay within your system, find your edge, use your edge. Do not overtrade. That's something I definitely did not do today. I did not stick to my system, and I learned the hard way. All right, y'all have a good night. I'll be in the chat for a little bit. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.